Hi, if you're a coach or consultant, I think you're going to find this incredibly valuable. Let me get this going for you. So, welcome to one of the hottest free webinars for coaches available today. You're about to learn an easier way to grow your coaching business while simplifying your life. I'm James I. Bond, one of America's leading behavioral management specialists. And I believe what I'm about to show you will blow your mind and change how you coach forever. With my behavioral management firm, we got clients and their teams to reach bigger goals than they could do on their own. Like a personal trainer who gets you to do more push-ups than you could do on your own. Like, here, you see, come on, one more, 4 more push-ups, 3 more, come on, you can do it, you can do it. Well, we work that way too. We do the same using advanced psychological tools. Like a personal trainer, we get you to tackle bigger projects than you could do on your own. And I want to tell you that I was really pissed. I saw a $2,000 program for coaches. And after 3 months, many of the coaches that signed up for the program had to get a job. Why? Because they got a ton of information from the program, but implementation is tougher than most people realize. You don't need just knowledge. You need to know how to do something, and you need help to do things. So what you do is more important than what you know. Would you agree with that? It doesn't matter how many keys you have. If you don't have the right key, you'll never be able to open the door you want. Implementation is the key you want. Here's Denzel Washington, has a great quote. To have something you never had, you have to do something you've never done. The start is what stops most people. Getting it started, whatever it is you're trying to get done. Everything you want is just outside your comfort zone. As Albert Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So if you want to achieve a bigger goal, you have to do something you've never done before. Something that's outside your comfort zone. The problem is tackling something outside your comfort zone is harder than most people realize. But if you understand this, you will have an advantage over other coaches. So I'm about to show you a secret to tackling something outside your comfort zone easier than you ever expected. Master this and you'll suddenly be able to reach a bigger goal and much bigger goals than you ever thought possible. And you'll be able to apply this with your clients so they too can reach bigger goals than they ever thought possible, if that's something you want to do also. Does this sound interesting? By the way, this is a great time to be a coach. Here's Fortune magazine. On the cover was Tony Robbins, the coach. And Tony Robbins has programs that a lot of people go through, but he also does coaching, but he charges $1 million a year, okay? If you can afford $1 million a year, then absolutely you want to use Tony Robbins' program. Here's, let me just fix this here. Tony Robbins, in this photograph, in the top right has Mark Benioff and Richard Branson and Tony. But Mark Benioff used Tony to help push him. And because Tony Robbins is such a good coach, he actually pushed Mark Benioff to help him become a billionaire. And Mark Benioff said, there's no way he could have become a billionaire without Tony Robbins pushing him. And it's because he's a coach who has a powerful coaching program. Here's multi-billionaire Ray Dalio saying the same thing, that he could not have reached the high level that he has and become a billionaire without Tony Robbins pushing him. And here's Dawn Zayer. She's the CEO of Nutrisystem. She actually went from being a marketing manager at Reader's Digest to becoming the head of Reader's Digest to then becoming the CEO of Nutrisystem. And she's made a fortune from that change. And she says this about her coach: his advice and support, coupled with his willingness to challenge and push me, which by the way, not many people are willing to do, have truly been invaluable to me, both at Reader's Digest and Nutrisystem. And these are both examples of coaches and how powerful the coaching program process is, that people who have coaches become massively successful and wealthy. And they're promoting it enough across the board that senior managers across the board and lots of other people realize that they can get a lot more done if they have a really good coach. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you an easy way for a professional coach to reach goals beyond your comfort zone that skyrocket your results while simplifying how you win higher paying clients and hold on to them for a long period of time. I love this photograph. Here's me in front of her. And we're going to show you how to win higher paying clients, how to hold on to them for longer without so much struggle. So you're going to discover in this webinar that I'm doing right now, how to stretch yourself to reach bigger goals, how to win higher paying clients, how to achieve greater results with those clients, how to retain your best clients for longer periods of time, and how to reduce the kind of selling you may hate and have fun doing it. Is that a fun photograph? So yes, it only takes one or two simple changes to radically simplify your ability to get what you want. Here's Gordon Durich, who is a media and PR specialist. And here's his comment: Jim's guidance has been indispensable in helping me redefine myself so it's much easier for people to hire me. Although clients have generated incredible income growth from what I'm about to show you, each client is different and results may vary. However, achievement of stretch goals can have dramatic financial and personal benefit to you. And that's why I believe you'll find this incredibly relevant to your coaching business and your life. So what I'm about to show you applies to coaches, consultants, psychologists, neuroscientists, and business experts. Now, the goal of this webinar is to help you understand 3 secrets that prevent almost everyone from achieving bigger goals than they set. A simple way to unlock this barrier, and something that you can easily apply to your clients if you want to do that, to deliver even greater results. So who am I? Who am I? I'm James I. Bond, one of America's leading behavioral management specialists. I've worked with a who's who of American business, companies and individuals. On his way to becoming the world's richest person, Warren Buffett started buying companies instead of just investing in them. And as he started buying companies, his team brought me in because I'm one of America's top leading behavioral management specialists to accelerate the growth of a bank he bought in Pasadena. I'm going to talk about it a little later, but yeah, I have tremendous success and just like mind-blowing the results I was able to deliver. One of the world's richest companies brought me in to help get rid of their CEO. And when billionaire Saul Price, founder of the Price Club, which eventually evolved into Costco, one of the world's richest men, wanted the city of Burbank, California, to let him build a $500 million shopping center that the mayor was fighting against. They brought me in, and we had tremendous success in helping him get his goals achieved. I'm also about to share with you elements from one of the most powerful persuasion books you'll ever experience. People are laughing at AI, artificial intelligence, because it doesn't cover this. I've uncovered a way to use the triggers that are wired into our brains to simplify how we influence, persuade, and sell through our ads, our emails, our social media posts, through our product names and descriptions, and through the words we use to describe our ideas. It's based on my book, Brain Glue. Brain Glue was a finalist as the best business book of the year by Publishers Weekly because it's blowing the minds of so many entrepreneurs, coaches, business owners, etc. It's also a reader's favorite 5-star award winner. Jack Canfield, one of the richest authors of all time, who sold more than 500 million Chicken Soup for the Soul books and more than 60 other major bestsellers, called this book mind-blowing and forced everyone in his company to read it and to apply what's in it. As he explains it, if you're in business or coaching and you don't know this, I believe you have a massive disadvantage and you probably don't even realize it. I've also done a TED Talk or TEDx talk on this. I'm also founder of the Father-Daughter Project to improve the relationships between fathers and daughters worldwide. You know, we all have to give back and try to make a difference in the world. Major media featured me. Forbes magazine did a full page article on me. Los Angeles Times, major media, etc. Also, NPN Hub, one of the world's largest neuroscience hubs with the most, they're in Switzerland, but with the most neuroscientists, brought me in to explain brain glue and the other tools of the coaching program I'm about to talk to you about, the tools I got, because it's so mind-blowing, even for neuroscientists. They found this to be tremendously valuable. Now, all that I'm going to talk with you about comes out of two core programs: faster tasking, which helps accelerate how we're able to achieve personal goals, bigger personal goals than we normally can achieve, and Brain Glue, which is entertaining and mind-blowing, one of the most valuable marketing books I believe you will ever experience. It's won all kinds of awards and all kinds of stuff. So my breakthrough story, let's start here, okay? I built an advertising and marketing company and had really good success. So I decided to bring in, I bought a management training franchise that's based on Think and Grow Rich and psychocybernetics. Psychocybernetics is amazing if you don't know what it is. It was written by Maxwell Maltz, who was a plastic surgeon who discovered that even though he gave a woman or a man plastic surgery, they still felt ugly. And then he realized how we feel is not affected by how we are visually or physically, but mentally and emotionally, and that those things can change in our minds. And so Think and Grow Rich and psychocybernetics were really dramatic, are dramatic and so powerful. But I discovered that many clients were not doing the homework because it was beyond their comfort zone and because they had limited commitment. So I came up with a solution that's incredible that we put at the front and the back end of our training programs, but it ended up becoming the tail wagging the dog because the pieces on the front and the back end were so powerful that we were actually able to apply those without even training in the middle of the program. And we were able to dramatically change, grow people, and get dramatic results. In fact, it was a division of Litton, the aerospace company, that was the transition for us, because we sat down with them and we're trying to sell our training program, and they said, we don't need a training program. Could you save our jobs? Can you help us save our jobs? And so with Litton, we saved their jobs. We blew the minds of their parent company because they went like, where the heck? We thought these guys were going out of business and we're going to shut them down. And they were taking all the top employees at this company. But suddenly they started making so much money that Litton changed its mind, decided to keep them. And then Gardner Group, the industry analyst, actually freaked out and went, where the hell did these guys come from? Also, we had psychologists who joined our company to figure out how the heck we were doing this. How are we getting such dramatic results? So how could this apply to you? Well, if you've struggled to change your own life, to achieve bigger goals outside your comfort zone, or if you're feeling overwhelmed with too much to do or too much to learn. So here are the 3 secrets I'd like to share with you. Number 1, tackling a goal that stretches beyond your comfort zone. This is tougher than most people realize. When you learn how, this can cause incredible positive changes in your life. Number 2, overcoming your primary internal obstacle. Opening a simple door that blocks you from stretching beyond your comfort zone can be easier than most people realize. And number 3, simplifying how you win clients. Applying brain science can simplify your ability to influence, persuade, and sell, while getting your prospect to spend more time selling you rather than you selling them. So they're actually saying, hey, can you please work with us? And I think you'll find this interesting. Let's start with secret number 1. Stretch goals are tough. And achieving a stretch goal is harder than most people realize because it's a real stretch goal is outside your comfort zone. It requires a strategic push, like a personal trainer, getting you to do more push-ups, okay? And as you saw, Tony Robbins has tremendous success. Dawn Zaire got tremendous success from her coach, all because of the power of a coach pushing you beyond your capabilities. Now, for coaches, this is a simple, low-cost way to stretch yourself beyond that you can use with your clients if you want to do that also. The steps include defining something beyond what they normally say, finding deep down what your client really wants, chunking it down into bite-sized pieces, fooling the brain, as I'll explain in a moment, and creating a new habit pattern. So the stretch goals process applies to individuals and groups. We've done this one-on-one with people, but also with groups of people, and it works well. It works equally well with both types. It could be people in different organizations, like we had CEOs and chief marketing officers and HR people in groups. And then we also work with people in the same organization. That was my favorite, where we actually work with maybe a CEO or an owner of a company and a bunch of key people in their company or a division. That's lots of fun. But individuals are fun also. Now, most of us don't have the discipline to stretch, and that's why a personal trainer is so valuable. And by the way, an easy solution, or part of the solution of why we're able to get such dramatic results, is by fooling the brain. When you mix work and play, the brain defers to play. It's like somebody comes home from work and they're exhausted. And then a friend says, "Hey, Joe, want to play football? Let's go play football." Yeah, let's go. Suddenly you have a whole different level of energy when it comes to play versus work. And when you can mix those two, play and work, it affects the brain in such a way that you can have dramatic results. It's really great. So our Litton story, the aerospace company that we're working with, they said, we don't want training. We're all about to they're all about to lose their jobs. We're going to lose our jobs. Could you help us? And so we asked a few critical questions that are power questions, and we were able to come up with an answer. And the answer was absolutely yes. And we caused dramatic results. The step one was we defined the desired outcome that they had. The desired outcome that they had was, how do we survive? And then here's what we have to do that. We determined key pieces that are necessary in order to achieve that. We identified who would be involved, distributed to each one of those people, and assigned specific steps to them. We chunked it down so that in bite-sized pieces so they could tackle these pieces. We created an easy accountability session and tricked the mind. And the result was we took them from 21 million to 66 million in sales in almost no time, in 18 months. Their growth took off like crazy. But most importantly, and this is important to note, we coordinated people who were in distress. People who are in distress or stressed or struggle, they become paralyzed. I have this great expression. I say, if you think, I know that you're under pressure. Well, remember, pressure creates diamonds. Okay. So we're going to help you go from stress to success. I love these little phrases. Okay. And you'll understand why as you hear about brain glue. But things like that and using phrases like that really help them and help clients, prospects, people, family members to connect more with something that you're offering them or presenting. Here's Larry Smith, president of Paragon Precision Products. He said, "Your program helped us finally complete a project that had been stalled for more than 2 years." Here's Alan Arzamanian, head of an electronics company. "Your program helped me restructure my business for easier management and higher growth." And Alan, I called his home at one point, and his wife answered. I said, "Hey, it's James Bond. You know who I am?" She said, "Yeah, you're the one who made us rich." He hated the fact that his wife said that. It was fun, but he sat down with me and he said, "I want you to understand, with all the changes you helped me make with this program that were fantastic, the most important one wasn't just that you got us to make more money, but it was this, that you helped me with my personal life so I could spend more, I could restructure my time that I spent at work so I could spend more time with my two boys." I think they were 5 and 7 years old at the time. He was telling me that the problem he had was his boys were growing up and he was not spending much time with them. He'd like get home so late and leave so early that, his boys grew up and he didn't really get to spend enough time with them. But this process helped him restructure his time so he could spend more time on his personal life. And personal life is such an important part of all this process. Here's Anita Pollack, director of Western Operations for Telematics International. 2 different groups became a team, and now they come to solutions quicker. And it spills up beyond this group to other parts of the company. And They had an issue where it would take them 2 to 3 years to develop a new product. We got them with this process to develop a new product, one of the biggest, most successful new products they ever had in 90 days, because we changed how they interacted with each other and with departments that they don't normally interact with. And it was amazing. So instead of 2 to 3 years, it was 90 days. She was blown away by this and excited too. So are we. It's lots of fun. Here's Kathleen Gallivan, director of management information systems at a division of British General Electric. And oh, she was so much fun. She said, these management skills aren't learned in school. You force me and my people to stretch, to try things outside our comfort zone. I mean, I remember her saying, hey, come on, guys, therapy session. We were doing live sessions with her. She would say, come on, guys, therapy session, let's go. And I would say, Kathleen, it's not really a therapy session. She said, no, it's fine. Come on, guys, therapy session. She had lots of fun. But she's a woman in a mostly man-run company, in a division of British General Electric. And they were floored by the results and the success that she was having, all because of the process that we were doing. I mean, she's amazing also, but she loved the fact that we got people to stretch outside their comfort zones. It made such a big difference. So who this works with, individuals or groups, could be CPAs, CEOs, finance professionals, artists, psychologists, life coaches, operations specialists, HR professionals, consultants, manufacturing people, marketing people, neuroscientists, college professors, even moms. This has been done with moms and getting dramatic results. It's really lots of fun. So false benefits. So many programs pretend implementation is easy. I actually had a pet supplement product that I was selling online while I was working with clients. And I figured, how hard could it be? I've taken all these programs on how to sell online and all that stuff. This should be really easy. It was harder than I thought, as many programs are harder than we thought. And so it took me 6 months. Within the 6 months, at one point, I actually hired a consultant. It was terrible, paid $1,000. But then later on, I hired another consultant, and that consultant, I was going to stop, but I figured I want to go forward because I know this is a really good product. And I found a second consultant, and that consultant took me through I just took off like gangbusters. I remember actually calling my wife and saying, hey, Pam, American Express just charged our credit card $1,000. And she said, well, turn it off. I said, no, wait a second. We just made 10,000, 11,000. I'm going to call you right back. We realized how much money we were making. My wife said, well, spend more. So we had fun. But I mean, the point was, a coach came in, and only with the help of a coach could I be successful. But I took off and made over $1 million. It was the first time I ever made that much money. It was fantastic. But I had to pass the false benefit. So many programs pretend implementation is easy, but it's not as easy as most of us realize. So implementation, it's tougher than most marketers tell you, but it's easier with psychology tools to simplify, clarifying. You simplify how you clarify what it is you want to achieve, how you chunk it down so it's bite-sized pieces. So you can create an accountability process, which is critical. And so you can fool the brain. So the mind, when you mix work and play, the brain defers to play, and suddenly it becomes a lot easier to do certain things that are hard. Okay, so that's number one. Secret number two is it's tough to say I don't know or I don't know how. And this is profound, as hopefully all these are, but people don't like saying I don't know or I don't know how. It's tough because they have a fear of looking stupid or clueless. So because of that, people sit there and nod their head when you don't realize they actually don't understand what you're talking about, okay? And by the way, knowing this gives crooks an advantage. Enron was a Fortune 100 company, and they actually invented fake businesses, energy businesses that didn't exist. And when people would ask them, well, can you tell us how this works? They would say, look, if you don't understand this, if you're not sophisticated enough to understand this, then, we're not going to help you. And the people would be embarrassed and invest in their fake divisions of their company, until they eventually got caught by somebody who said, no, you got to tell me what this is. This is BS. This doesn't exist. So people are afraid to say, I don't know, or I don't know how. But overcoming this gives you an edge as a coach, where you understand that the people you're talking to often are not comfortable or afraid to say, I don't know, or I don't know how. The problem is life gets in the way. friends, family, coworkers, bosses, clients, associates, and habits and your own self-image can sabotage you. But solving this can be profound. So here's the I don't know discovery bridge of people, finally admitting that they don't know something and how it makes a difference. We were working with Bob Kreitz, who owned a trucking company. They had about 50, him and his brother, they owned about 50, tractor trailers, big trucks. And so they brought me and our company in, our coach in, to help them, grow the business and to improve the productivity of their people. But when Bob recognized how powerful this was, he said, you know what? Now that you're pushing me to do something, I realize that you can push me to do something I'd love to do, but I don't have the confidence that I know how to do this well. And that is, we've got a friend who has a trucking company, also a competitor, and I would love to buy his company. He's older and his kids don't want to work in a trucking company. And it would be awesome if we could buy his company and probably bring him onto our company so he could help us grow the business as well. And so could we change our task so we could focus on buying competitor companies? The answer was yes. And the results, as they say, was incredible. And he started buying a competitor's company. But in the process of getting to buy his competitor's company, here's something that happened. He has an in-house CPA or accountant, and that accountant had to go out and evaluate the competitor's company, check them from top to bottom, make sure there's nothing bad about the company, et cetera. And it took him a few weeks, because our process is so powerful, it's a multi-week process, that he finally came back and admitted, the first week he said, well, I was too busy, I wasn't able to do it. But that wasn't the real reason. That wasn't true. He was afraid to say, I don't know how. But he finally, because he was held accountable to it, came to the group and to us, and he said, I have to tell you guys, the reason I haven't gone out there and evaluated the other company is, I'm afraid to say this, I don't know how to evaluate a company to be bought. That was reasonable. We're getting you to tackle stuff outside your comfort zone. So it has to include stuff that you've never done before. And so what we did was we identified an attorney that they worked with who knew an accountant who had experience with doing acquisitions. And then we brought that person in to mentor their CPA. And as a result of that, they were able to buy the business, and they had so much fun buying the business, they started buying competitors' businesses, and their income grew to double, triple, quadruple. I mean, it took off like gangbusters because they started buying other companies. So it was really fun, but they were buying companies, something they were terrified of doing, but with help of a coach pushing them, they were able to tackle this thing a little bigger than they've ever done before. What we did was, step one was we defined a stretch goal or desire. In this case, it was a big goal. It was to buy competitor companies. Then we established an accountability system that got the CPA or their accountant to finally come to terms and admit that he didn't know how to do what he was being asked. And we chunked the process down to simplified complex tasks. We ingrained new achievement habits in everybody, and we fooled the brain. Fun fuels freedom. Okay. Here's some other people's results. Warren Buffett's team brought me in for Mutual Savings Bank when he bought Mutual Savings Bank. The people in there, senior managers, hated admitting they didn't know how to sell. But when we opened it up, so we created a safe environment so they felt really comfortable, then suddenly we helped them and they started moving forward and they became top performers. They started selling. They found out that selling is actually easier than they realized as we helped them create a process. It was easier than they ever imagined. And as a result, the business, the bank, it was the bank in this case, took off like gangbusters. They couldn't believe how much revenue they started growing with this. Most importantly, because these people got to admit they don't know how and they felt comfortable. It was a safe zone. Here's Ron Isley, who has had one of the America's largest form printing companies. They print forms for banks and stuff like that. And he wanted to retire. He wanted his kids and his partner's kids to run the company, but he didn't ask the right questions. As a result of that, they had problems. And the questions he had were this. He wanted to ask people and give them a safe environment of family members who were comfortable saying, hey, you're making me a manager, but I don't know how to manage. I don't think I'm really good at it. Okay. So what we discovered as we created a safe environment where people are comfortable saying this is one of the guys who was a senior manager. He admitted to everybody, I'm not really good at this. I don't, I think I'm hurting the company because I'm, and it isn't really something I want to do. You guys made me the senior manager, but I don't really want to do this. Where one of the other kids, I say kids, one of his kids, said, I would love to do this. And he started talking about this and talking through what he was working on, was very interactive with the other family members. We created a safe environment, and these people actually all admitted what was happening, that they were comfortable, what they were comfortable doing, what they were not comfortable doing, and or what they needed help with, and company grew. It literally almost doubled within a year while Ron was retiring. Ron actually retired, and he couldn't believe that, man, this company was growing. But also, I say management restructured, but it also had universal happiness, that people were much happier in this company because people were comfortable telling what was really going on. It was just so powerful. There are other kinds of results, professional and personal results. We were working with a hospital and the chief operating officer of a hospital, and she wanted us helping her head nurse who had tremendous difficulty delegating. And so because she had difficulty delegating, they were kind of running into roadblocks in helping her in trying to get their hospital to make more profit. What we discovered was the head nurse, an awesome woman, was overwhelmed with, she had an autistic son living with her. She had her mom who had Alzheimer's living with her. She had an abusive husband, and she was taking MBA classes so she could be a better manager. Because of that, she didn't want to delegate because she was overwhelmed. She felt that her second in command was overwhelmed and other people were overwhelmed too. It took weeks, 2 weeks, as it usually takes in this case, because we're holding them accountable, where she finally sat down with her second in command and she told her, I don't want to delegate to you, but my coaches are getting me to delegate to you. And her second in command said, I am so happy. I wanted to take stuff off your plate and to help you. I also know you're so overwhelmed. And also it helps me because of my career, I get to say, hey, look at what I did as far as senior management work is concerned. And so this nurse realized, wow, I didn't realize that you wanted to be delegated to. And so she started realizing and was more comfortable at delegating to other people because we got her past this block. Okay, this roadblock, this mental roadblock she had. And that it's amazing. Once you get past a mental roadblock, suddenly life becomes easier. We have a biotech company, one of the world's largest biotech companies we work with. And this is a senior exec, one of the number 2 or number 3 person in the company who helped the company grow like gangbusters to become a multi-billion-dollar company. He spent 7 years helping this major biotech firm grow, okay? But then he had an opportunity to take a vacation, the first time in 7 years, and he really wanted to do this. And he had an opportunity to go fishing, a fishing vacation in the Rockies, up in Canada. It was in, I think, Southern California, or one of the areas in southern United States. So he told the group, I have a dilemma. I want to go fishing because I need this rest, but I should also spend time with my 13-year-old son, and I'm not sure what to do. Now, most of us already know the answer to this, okay? So I turned to the group and I said, what do you think he should do? And then somebody said, why don't you take your son fishing, your 13-year-old son fishing? Without exaggeration, this is a guy who helped build a multi-billion-dollar company. He goes, oh, that's an interesting, that's a good idea. Huh. He ended up taking his son fishing. They took off, I think, a week, and he went fishing with his son. And when he came back, they said, what the heck did you do to Ed? He can't stop talking. He never talks about his family, and now he can't stop talking about his son, how amazing his son is, how smart his son is, and everything else. And we started laughing. It's like, I'm sorry, guys. They said, no, it's great. He's talking about his son now from a personal standpoint. Within 4 years, this senior exec from this major biotech company decided to retire and moved this company to Africa. He basically saw an interview with Oprah Winfrey, or she adopted an African family. And he didn't want his kids to be like rich kids that are just pompous and everything else. He wanted to teach his kids and his family how to be servers and service. And so he decided to move his family to Africa. They adopted a village and worked, helping them get food, helping them do education and everything else. Really amazing stuff. But that's how powerful this program is. It actually gets people to change their lives. Now, breaking past limited beliefs is really important. Life gets in the way, but small steps simplify our ability to step past, our limiting beliefs. But don't ignore your personal desires. You want to marry your personal life and your business life, so you actually have both of them are really positive. So who agrees that beyond accelerated growth, your personal life must also be considered critical? Your professional life should align with your deepest emotional desires. Leveraging your personal strengths should be the backbone of your life. Okay, now we go to number 3. Selling is easier when you use brain triggers. And there's a tool that my book Brain Glue deals with, and the Brain Glue courses that we have deal with, and it's called redintegration, and it's at the heart of persuasion. Redintegration is the brain's need for completion. Okay, I'll give you some examples. First, as I went into the living room, my wife was watching a TV show, and I said, "Hey, is this any good?" And she said, "No, it's stupid." So I said, "Why are you watching it?" She said, "I want to see how it turns out." Okay, it's the need for completion, the brain's need for completion. So let me ask you this. What's the most powerful tool of human interaction? I'm using it now, aren't I? Can you tell what I'm doing? What am I doing? I'm asking questions, aren't I? Questions are one of the most powerful human interaction tools you will ever use. Okay. So let me give you a tool from questions, and it's called simple reflexive questions. And if this is the only thing you walk away with, hopefully you walk away with more. Hopefully you like the program, because I'll talk about a program we have too. But if you walk away with only one thing, this changed my life and it's changed the lives of so many other people. And it's called simple reflexive questions. It's a way to simplify mental engagement. It catches objections and concerns faster. When you're talking to somebody or trying to sell somebody, it gets them to respond faster so you can catch them early on. Simple reflexive questions. Here are examples. Isn't it, doesn't it, shouldn't it, don't you agree are simple reflexive questions, aren't they? Okay. You put them at the end of your sentence. So instead of just talking to somebody, you add, isn't it, doesn't it, shouldn't it, don't you agree? And suddenly it increases your interactivity with that person. Let me give you an example. I had a friend, I live in Southern California now. I'm originally from Montreal. But I had a friend in Southern California, and I looked outside and said, well, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? Normally I would have said, it's a beautiful day, let's go out. Instead, I said, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, what's wrong? And he said, nothing. I said, no, come on, what's up? It's nothing. It's not just me and my wife are having an argument. I said, oh, don't worry about it. I said, well, yeah, well, what is it? And I got to talk with him about it, and we talked through his issue. This is powerful when you're on a presentation. I'll give you an example just in a few minutes of how this works on a presentation. But when you uncover objections, or you find out what's really going on with a person, it improves your relationship. It improved my relationship with my wife, with my kids, with clients, with prospects, by having simple reflexive questions at the end of my statements. Does that make sense? Okay, aren't I engaging with you? How about this? By the way, I'm not engaging. We're not engaged to get married. Oh, maybe we are. How about this? What's the one question that gets a prospect wanting to buy from you even before you hear your presentation? Wouldn't you like to know that? Wouldn't you like to say something where prospects go, oh, okay. So what's the quick pitch that summarizes what you're selling and why they should buy? Okay, it's amazing. I do work for a small business administration where I'll have like sometimes 100 to 300, 500 people. And I'll ask that question. I say, why should somebody buy from you? And you're not allowed to use the word price or quality. Okay, don't use the word price or quality. Tell me why someone should buy from you. And most people have difficulty answering that question. It's amazing. This is one of the most important things, one of the most important answers you want to be able to have. And most people don't. But we change that, and that's a small part of what we do. So overcome these internal blockages and your life changes. You have limited personal expectations. Like, can you jump over a chair? I can't. Most of you probably can too, but we have blockages of what we're able to do. Okay, we had a paint manufacturer who was selling only to auto repair shops, and we got them to start selling to machine shops and to other types of businesses. But they were blocked because they went like, I don't really know how to do that. I don't know how to figure them out and find them and all that stuff. and develop products just for them. But so because of that, they were resistant. Once we overcame the resistance, their lives changed, their income changed, and everything. The trucking company I was talking about, they knew how to grow internally by buying more trucks and whatever else. But we overcame the internal blockage, and suddenly they started buying competitors' companies, and wow, everything changed. I had a pet supplement. It was harder than I thought. When I finally was able to figure out and get help, agree to get help, and suddenly I was able to take off like crazy and made a ton of money. That was great. I have a mechanical engineering background, but I started as an ad photographer, advertising photographer. But I learned advertising so I could do a better job as a photographer. And then I realized, and I learned how to create an advertising agency. Okay. It was tough crossing that first bridge, by the way, going from a photographer to an agency, because mentally I had this blockage. But once I passed that, then I learned marketing to do a better job in advertising, and eventually built a marketing company. And then eventually I learned that behavioral management is the top of all that. How do you get people to do what you want, buy your products, but take actions? And as I learned behavioral management, I built a behavioral management firm. But passing through the internal blockages to get there was tough. We have Elisa, I'm going to be talking about her just in a moment, as a nonprofit specialist, and she sold pieces of nonprofit areas. So if you have a problem getting grants, or you have a problem getting members or whatever else, she can help you with each one of those. But it was difficult for her, even though she was capable of doing this, to work with corporate strategy, develop corporate strategy with CEOs of nonprofits, even though she's incredible at it. And when they sit down and talk with her about this, they're floored by how capable she is. But it's tough for her to cross over into that and talk to CEOs, because she wasn't used to talking to CEOs. Once you cross over that, life changes. So many coaches hate selling. Behavioral trigger questions solve this. Interacting like a doctor rather than a car salesman. And I don't mean it badly against car salesmen out there, but doctors are going to analyze, what's going on with you and whether I can help you, whether I have a solution for you. So you're able to dig below superficial objectives, go from salesman to researcher, be willing to say no, say we can't help everyone, but let's find out what you're like and define that. And then change your perception, work versus play, that you mix work and play, and suddenly everything takes off because it's much easier, because it feels like you're playing. The aha moment for me was Seagram's. Seagram's is originally in Montreal, their headquarters is there. And I went into Seagram's, and rather than pitching, I was used to taking them through our whole presentation and samples and all that stuff. Rather than pitching, I got them to uncover irritation areas. They defined true desire that they had, and I was able to match their desire to what I was offering. And suddenly I won them as a client. They said, we feel bad that it took so long for us to find you guys. We're so happy to work with you guys, me and my company. I talk about simple reflexive questions. So Paul Hendel, who was a partner at a construction company, okay? This is how simple reflexive questions uncovered his concern. So I was talking to him and I said, "Oh, does that make sense? So what do you think?" And he goes, "It's good, but I'm not sure we can do it." I said, "Well, what's wrong?" He said, "Well, we're so busy. I don't think that we have the time to do this." And I said to him, "Well, it only takes 2 hours a week. You can go to the bathroom you can be in the bathroom for 2 hours a week." He started laughing and he said, "Okay, fine. Yeah, you're right. Okay." And we came on. We grew him from 2 million, him and his two partners and their company, from 2 million to 10 million in 1 year and 32 million 2 years later. But I would not have been able to win them if I had not used simple reflexive questions, where I uncovered the objection he had early. And here's why. Here's a secret about objections. The earlier you catch an objection or uncover one, the easier it is to resolve. If you would have had that objection, and then I would have gone through a whole presentation for 45 minutes after that, and then I said, "So what do you think?" He would have said, "No, I don't think this is good for us," or "I don't think we can do this," or he would have said, "Let me think about it." Okay. He might even have forgotten why they couldn't do this, but he knew that the objection was in there and it was growing like crazy. But here's an important psychological element about objections, okay? even if you can't resolve the objection they have, because they recognize that you listen to them, often that is enough, and that stops the objection being an issue. Okay, just the fact that they know you're listening to them, you heard the objection. So the objection I heard from him, I had a funny way to respond to it. You can go to the bathroom for 2 hours a week, and now it's sort of made him laugh, which was fun. But even if I didn't do that, just the fact that he knew that I listened to him could have made it easier for me to close the sale. So these are brain glue tools. Okay. Here's another brain glue tool. It's called trigger words. We had one guy we're working with who is the owner of a carpet cleaning company. And he wanted to come up with an ad. So we got him using brain trigger words to do that. And so we came up with this and said, we changed his company too, but are you poisoning your family and you don't realize it? Are you poisoning your kids? Your kids are crawling on a carpet. You know, if your kids are crawling on a carpet, there's formaldehyde in new carpets that poisons kids. You know, there's like the types of shampoos they use sometimes can be poisonous. And then we made sure that his business had all really positive, clean, environmentally friendly and safe shampoos and other products that he used. And he promoted that. And his business quadrupled in size and almost in a short period of time. And the biggest problem he had was he had so many clients suddenly that he didn't have enough employees to be able to do all the work. I mean, that's a nice problem to have, by the way. He ended up solving it. But, are you poisoning your family is a trigger word. So these are brain glue tools, just a sampling of brain glue tools that we talk about. Simple reflexive questions, trigger words. We do quick pitches. This is very important, is that, can you tell people in a few words enough about what you do so people go like, oh, okay, that's what you do. Here's Robin Thompson. I love her. We've worked with her for a while. I've worked with her for a while. And she created a program, how a woman can manage her money for greater growth, women with over $100,000 a year, which I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But we needed a quick pitch for her. She changed, as we went through discussions with her, the name of her business to Women in Control, okay? In control of your money, but it's in control of your life. But she came up with this phrase, I'm tired of giving my money away. And I'm going to talk about this in a moment, but this became a powerful phrase that radically increased and simplified her ability to win clients. I have this guy has the Life Scholar Project, a nonprofit. And I asked him, well, what do you do? It took almost 20 minutes for him to describe what he does. I had to go through it in 20 minutes. Wow. I finally said, let's change it, what you do, and come up with a quick pitch. We help arrested youth become responsible adults, educated, mentored, and employed. I actually say employed and enjoyed, okay? Say hello to our empowered heroes. And it became easier because now in just 2 sentences, he makes it clear what he offers. I have this woman, Dr. Jeannie. She's amazing. And she created this program that boosts the IQ of little kids, of young kids, by giving them music, having them singing and creating music for themselves. She has an incredible program. So we came up with a simple pitch for her, Dr. Jeannie's IQ Music Club for Kids. And suddenly it's easy for people to understand, like, well, IQ Club for Kids? Well, IQ Music Club for Kids? Yeah. And then she explains what it is, and it has dramatic results. We have more things we've done with her, but I don't want to tell you because it's a secret as she's growing her business. But these are powerful tools that we teach you and get you doing. Then we have chiasmus, which is a flip. All for one and one for all. That's a flip, okay? Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country, okay? Okay? These are called chiasmus. Here's Richard Feynman. I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. Okay, here's Frederick Douglass, an early civil rights activist, and yet people still quote him. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Okay, he's from ages ago, and yet we still refer to him because his quote was so powerful. Here's Winston Churchill. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. These are examples of chiasmus. And these are some of the tools that we show you how to use. You don't have to perfect all of them. A lot of people just get one of them, but they use this and suddenly they become more impressive, which is what we want with our clients. Yes, it's time to break your limited beliefs. It used to be hard, but no more. All the training in the world won't help without implementation. Remember, it doesn't matter how many keys you have. If you don't have the right key, you will never be able to open the door. So your undeniable truth, new truths. And I want to just throw them randomly here, okay? It used to be hard, but with the right key, everything becomes easier. Would you agree with that? Coaches who don't know this, what I'm talking about, have a huge disadvantage. Stretch goals are more difficult than most people realize. Natural walls need to be lowered, psychological walls. Making the selling process easier is more fun and changes everything. Can you imagine if you enjoyed selling much more than you're doing it now? Erase vulnerability by putting most of the responsibility on your clients instead of on you. That's interesting, isn't it? Simplifying implementation moves you beyond the comfort zone. These are just undeniable truths. So consider this. What if you can get all your clients to meet every stretch commitment they make? Okay? Clients would start feeling comfortable climbing the mountain no matter how tough, because they know they have support. And once they've reached even a small peak, they become hooked on the value you bring. They stay with you longer because you become a critical part of their ability to achieve, just as we become a critical part of your ability to achieve. And then there's Tony Robbins, who's promoting this. And people say, yeah, we love the fact that he pushed us, because we would never have accomplished the tremendous wealth and success that we've had in our business and our life without him pushing us. And then here's Don Zayer saying basically the same thing: as my coach pushed me, and that's how I was able to achieve these wonderful goals. Okay, may I ask you a question? Have you found this interesting? Hopefully you have. Well, I'd like to share with you a powerful way to use what we've been explaining, what I've been explaining here, to help you win clients even easier than you may have expected, while tackling a bigger goal in your life than you're used to tackling. I believe getting a personal insight into how powerful this can be will be fascinating for you. If you're willing, I'd like to set up a short 45-minute call with you. In all honesty, at the end of the call, yes, we're going to tell you how you can work with us even further if you feel that would be valuable for you. But that's okay. Even if you don't say yes, I believe you're going to find this to be incredibly valuable, this call. And here's why. We're going to show you 3 power questions that relate specifically to you, that make it much easier to get people to become your coaching clients, where they tell you exactly how to turn them into a client. Next, we'll take you through part of the actual tasking process, showing you how to uncover some of the most important issues your prospect wants help with, something they haven't shared with anyone else, that I think you're going to find incredibly valuable for yourself, and as something that you can easily use with all your own clients. Now remember, tasking was used by one of America's leading behavioral management specialists, blowing the minds of neuroscientists, best-selling authors, and many of the world's most important people and organizations. Now, I believe you'll find this call to be one of the most important experiences you've ever gone through as a coach, because you're learning something that can simplify your ability to tackle things outside your own comfort zone easier than you ever imagined. So click the link and choose a time for this free 45-minute call, and we'll see you on the other side.